Our world is rapidly changing. With such a high percentage of money being tracked electronically, it is more important now than ever before to learn how to keep track of it. So, as a young adult learning how to budget, get your first savings account, and file taxes, what are the basics you need to know? Let's talk about taxes. First off, what's a tax? You likely pay sales tax on nearly everything, from shopping, to going to a concert, to adopting a new pet. But those taxes are paid for immediately, and you don't have to worry about them when you file for your income taxes. The taxes you have to file for on April 15th are your federal, state, and local income taxes. If you're an employee, your employer probably withholds income tax from your paycheck and pays it to the Internal Revenue Service, otherwise known as the IRS. However, if you're self-employed or a freelancer, for example, those who don't have taxes withheld will have quarterly estimated payments. So, do you know how much money you will pay in income taxes? This is called your tax withholdings, and it's calculated using your filing status, income, and deductions. Let's break these terms down to make it easier. There are 5 filing statuses, and they determine the rate at which your income is taxed. The 5 statuses are single, married filing joint, married filing separately, head of household, and qualifying widow or widower with dependent children. All of these statuses take different tax amounts so that you are able to cover your income tax come tax season. If you pay too much, you'll get a tax return. And if enough isn't withheld, you will owe money come tax season. The next aspect is income. Income is defined by the IRS as money, property, or services you receive in the tax year. When filling out your tax return, you should receive a W-2 from your employer. This is a form that tells you how much your employer paid you over the course of a year, which will help you determine your gross income, which just means the amount of income you make before taxes or other deductions are taken out. Your W-2 will also include information like the amount of tips you made, your tax withholdings for Social Security, Medicare taxes, savings, and the amount of federal income tax you withheld. The last area of income taxes we are going to cover is deductions. A tax deduction is something you put your money towards that will lower the amount of taxes you pay back. Examples of deductions are school supplies for teachers. K-12 educators can deduct up to $250 for materials they purchase out of pocket for their classrooms. Another common deduction is a charitable gift. You can write off a donation you make to organizations of your choosing, but it doesn't have to just be a monetary donation. If you're self-employed, you can also count out-of-pocket expenses such as supplies for baked goods. Just remember to keep the receipt in case of an audit. And potentially one of the most important deductions to be aware of just graduating high school is the Lifetime Learning Credit. This credit provides up to $2,000 per year, taking off 20% of the first $10,000 you spend for education after high school. So let's review everything we've learned. A sales tax is something you pay on nearly everything, and not the same as your income tax, which you file a tax return for yearly and is typically on April 15th. Income is defined by the IRS as money, property, or services you receive in the tax year. And before you receive your paycheck, your employer is likely to have already withheld your income taxes from it. This is money that you will receive as a tax refund if you owe less than what was withheld. And lastly, it's important to know the ins and outs of income taxes before filing. However, you don't have to do your taxes alone, and there are people and software available to make sure you fill it out properly and make sure you get the most you can out of your tax refund. Head over to WBGU.org/educational videos for more ways to improve your financial literacy.
This financial literacy video was brought to you by a grant from the Ohio Broadcast Educational Media Commission and WBGU-PBS in consultation with the Ohio Department of Education. For more videos in our financial literacy series, please go to WBGU.org.